Welcome to the studio. I don't know how long that intro goes. Quite a long time. It's just gonna run and run and run. So welcome to Watercolor Wednesdays here in the studio. Thankful to have you all here. And tonight we're gonna try to paint that little guy up there. I've kind of pre-drawn it, loosely based. My drawing is loosely based upon that. This is part of my monthly challenge on my Discord server, and being honest with you all, it's a bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. I did a few trials and got partway through, and some good and some bad. I decided I didn't want to do this one. Tried with that one. Oops, I got another one over here that I did some work on. Decided I like the crystal form of everything better than I do the cut gemstone. So I'm going to go with that. I'm using different paints this week. I don't have my beloved M-Gram paints, and the reason for that is I have this... Well, it's a couple of sets thrown together from Daniel Smith, and I've got these lovely reds down here and this beautiful purple, right? It's Imperial Purple, Opera Pink, which we all know, Quiacridone Rose, Quiacridone Magenta, Pyrrol Red, and Organic Vermilion. I think we could probably find a place for most, if not all of those, in our painting today. If it doesn't happen to come out exactly Amethyst, I don't think it's that big of a deal. The brushes I'm going to use, as usual, I'm going to be using my King Art brushes. I still like these. And my paper is Fabriano Studio paper. And with that, I'm gonna get going. And I'm gonna wet everything. What I want to do is put a layer of water down here, and then throw some color on here. And I want it to mix as an undertone for everything that's going to go on above it. I don't want to force it to be any one color, because I want to see a lot of variation in the colors that I have shining through on this. So as I did the ones that you saw just a moment ago, that's kind of what I did, is I put on a really light layer of other colors and just let it kind of work its way through. And I think it turned out pretty nicely, albeit, quickly for what I did. So just let me get some water on here very quickly. Somebody had a question. Eliza said, hello, Michael and everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday indeed. Happy Wednesday indeed. I hope everybody had a good start to your week. I hope this is turns out to be a very nice, enjoyable interlude before we hit the back half of the week and get ready for the weekend. As this is going to start to dry, I am going to have some updates for everybody on some things I did over last weekend. So, let's see. These are not my normal colors, so I'll kind of tell you what colors I'm grabbing here. This is Pyrrol Scarlet. I'm going to throw some Pyrrol Scarlet on here and let the water take that away. And then some magenta, Quiacridone Magenta. Let's throw a little bit of that on here. Let's see. I need to look at my reference photo. Just not too much, but I just kind of want to see where there's some darker areas and where there are some lighter areas. Natalie says, you missed me last week. Oh, thank you. Last week was a tough week at work for me, and by Wednesday, I got home and my head was screaming at me. I laid down for about 40 minutes in hopes of being able to get into the show, and it was just not going to happen. So I had to call it. I hope everybody saw the announcement for that. So I apologize. I missed last Wednesday too. Thursday came rolling around and I went, oh man, I wish I would have been able to do it, but you know what? That stuff happens sometimes, and we'll just pick up this Wednesday and every Wednesday hereafter and have a good time with it going forward. So, let's see. Let me throw some Opera Pink in here. When I come back over this with some darker colors, I think having this underpainting will, shoot, I'll even throw a little bit of this regular purple in here. It will just help to bolster the rest of the painting and make it, a little bit more exciting as we go along. You just pull this down. I'll grab some of whatever color I have here. And then one of the things I like about the reference photo that I have there is it's got this cool blue color on the bottom of it. So I'm going to grab some Cerulean Blue and put some of that down here. It looks like my paper is just about dried here. But let me throw on some of this blue a little bit here and there. So I'm going to just pull that across. I'm going to put a little bit more purple in here. I'm trying purposely not to be too careful about anything. Liza, you've been painting gems all week. You got tons of them. It was surprisingly difficult to do this. And I don't mean to say it was technically difficult. I think any of us could technically sit down and paint these gems. I think the issue was kind of the tedium of it. There's a lot of looking at the gem and then looking at your paper and then looking at the gem and looking at the paper because it's such a defined shape that we all kind of wanted to get those facets just right and get the shimmer just right. And I think that's where maybe it made this a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Okay, cool. Whew, that was a lot in 8 minutes. But the first layer is on here. It's still wet. You can see it's still glistening there. It's going to dry. It's going to lighten. You're saying yes, tedium. Bicycle Repairman, you've drawn yours out. You just need to paint it. That's yeah, it's I just want to be free and flow and paint here and there, and because it's a crystal, I felt like I'm forced to be inside the lines on everything. One CDK, one crystal wasn't enough for you. You painted several. For those of you who jumped onto Discord and put your paintings over there, thank you. They all look fantastic. And frankly, when I saw the quality of them, I went, oh no. I hope mine is going to turn out. We'll see. Yeah, Natalie, you said you enjoyed seeing it. I think that's kind of the fun part of a challenge like this, is that everybody's painting the same subject, or nearly the same subject, right? Some people chose gemstones, some people chose crystals like this. But you get to start to see how other people have attacked it. And then you go, oh, I think I see how they did it, or they did something really cool there. And then it makes you want to go back and do it yourself. So it's kind of cool. But while this is drying, I have a sketchbook of mine. Because, actually, where's my phone? Oh, I guess I should get my phone out too. Let me do this. Because and Natalie, I'm still blaming this on you. I got out to do some more plein air painting this weekend, or this past weekend. And it was sunny, which it hasn't always been here. And I got to go out to a reservoir not far from my house. And my painting is going to look nothing like this because I didn't do the trees in the foreground yet, or maybe I won't. But if anybody can see that, that was my view that I got to see. And I also did this tree. There it is. And so let me show you what I came up with. Still waiting for this to dry. Here they are. Here's that pine tree. Whoops, I got to put this down, which means I have to move this. There we go. There's that pine tree. Siddiq, you were nervous about posting, but everyone was so nice and encouraging. I hope everybody is nice and encouraging about everybody else's artwork when it gets posted to Discord, because it's something that's personal, and it's something that people are very vulnerable about, and you're putting yourself out there kind of to be judged in some ways, and it's very easy for other people to go, oh, you should have done this and you should have done that, and it crushes you when you hear that. And I understand that because it's happened to me a million times. But I think everybody on that Discord channel is super positive about everybody else's paintings and just understanding what everybody else does. Okay, so there's the comparison painting. I don't know. I don't think I did too bad with it. I was out with my my son painting, and I'd finished the one on this side over here. I'll show you in just a second. And I had about 20 minutes or so, or what I suspected was about 20 minutes. And so I was like, I'm just going to turn around and paint this. Anyways, I think that turned out pretty cool. And here's the one where I don't have my foreground in it, but it's kind of a cool thing, right? You can see some nice still water in here, and the hills that come down on this side add a little depth, and there's some differentiation in the water there. Anyways, that's what I saw. That's what, the camera picks up more. That's probably more of what I painted there. And I think I should have turned the camera a little bit when I did that. But this was nice. We sat out there for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours maybe, and did some plein air painting. That was extremely fun. I'm hoping that we're going to get a sunny day this weekend, because I want to take this back out and do some more plein air painting. So, Natalie, I told you, It's your fault I've started to enjoy plein air painting so much. I'm holding you personally responsible for my enjoyment. This hasn't dried quite enough yet. You love the water. It looks so calm. It's really an interesting reservoir. It's about a mile from the ocean. It's I mean, you could almost throw a baseball there, it seems like. But when you're at that reservoir, it seems like you're a million miles away from the ocean. You don't have the breeze that comes in off the water. It gets stopped by the hills that are on there. The birds sound different. It's a totally different area over there. And I really have started to like it. Oh, Dana is here. Welcome, Dana. Good to see you. I'm going to put you all on mute for just 1 second. All right, and just so we're clear, Natalie, when I say I blame you for it, I'm actually giving you some praise because without having seen that you've gotten out and done your plein air painting, I don't know. I go out once a month or something and do just kind of whatever, and then I kind of went, well, you know what? Let me give this another crack, and I've thoroughly been enjoying it. So thank you. Sue DK, you're in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, maybe wait a month before you go out and do some plein air painting. Okay, so let's jump back in here, and I want to talk a little bit about what I have. So, if you see up there, there are a couple of areas that really are pretty bright, right? Like this kind of triangle right here. I'm not sure I'm going to paint anything over top of this, but now it's got this lovely color, and you can see it's got some variation in there. So if I leave that there as like the light bouncing off of it, I think it's going to look fantastic, right? I'm going to grab some of these colors, and I'm going to while I'm talking and before I really start to do much, I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of these colors onto here, onto my palette, and I'm going to hope to mix some of these either on the palette or on the page, however it turns out, and we'll just kind of roll with it because I think that's part of the fun, and that's part of why I wanted to pick the crystal here, right? Because a gemstone, as I was looking at them, it doesn't seem like there's that variation of colors in here, right? It's purple and it's curated and it looks so perfect. But if I pick out this gemstone and there's some color variation in there, it looks like it's going to be just like it should be. So I'm I kind of want to leave some of that variation in there. And so I'm just going to grab a few of these general areas, and I'm going to start to darken a few of them up. Foghorn is here. Welcome, Foghorn. Good to see you. Let's see. I'm just looking at some of the darkest areas. Oh, and I should say I'm going to kind of vary what I'm doing now, right? I started by getting everything wet and painting it all in one go-round. And now I'm going to start to break this up into some areas. And I'm going to start to paint the individual areas so that I can get them a little darker or a little lighter, or I can vary the color in them just a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Hit the thumbs up, everyone. Yes, thank you. Hit the thumbs up. I would very much appreciate the thumbs up there. That would help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Let's see. I'm going to grab a little bit. This is vermilion here. It's a little redder. There we go. Foghorn just said, do I read the comments? I read them from time to time. I try. Sometimes I just talk. There we go. And I'm gonna let this lighten as I come all the way down to, I don't know, wherever this stops, all the way down here. Let's bring that all the way down there. If we need to intensify this color a little bit, we'll do that in a second. There we go. Starting to look good. Foghorn says I should paint a spoon. Perhaps. Let's see. Now I'm painting with different colors here. Liza, I'm surprised you haven't asked me about the different colors. I actually really like when you ask about the different colors, because it gives an opportunity to showcase the colors, and we can all take a little bit away from that. And it ends up being, lots of times a fun demonstration for us all. Let's see. Where else? I'm looking for the darkest areas here. An antique silver spoon would be a good challenge. An antique silver spoon. Could be. For anybody who has looked ahead on Discord, I've set next month's challenge already, but I totally will keep a spoon in mind. But next month, I guess that starts. Oh, it doesn't start tomorrow. It starts in 2 days. Oh, tomorrow is a leap day. Oh, that's exciting. The next challenge is going to be to paint a flamingo. A silver pitcher, too. A silver spoon and a silver pitcher. I don't know, how much silver can you paint? Could be a cool challenge, though. I will admit, could be a cool challenge. Okay, I've dropped in a few of what I think are kind of the darkest areas here. I'm going to make this a dark area. And already we've got some cool things going on. I've also tried to, well, I can do a little bit more over here. I've also tried to stay away from contiguous areas, right? I don't necessarily want to paint areas that are going to be touching, because they potentially are going to run into each other. And trying to paint, these aren't really facets, but all of these hard angles on here might be a little difficult if they start to touch. So I'm gonna not paint contiguous areas, but I'm just maybe just keep working around and get a few of these areas here and there. Oh, and I forgot I can get the bottom down here too, can't I? Foghorn says, "Am I doing Amethyst because it is the birthstone of February?" I am. As a tribute to February, and with February being the gemstone of the Amethyst being the gemstone of the month of February, yes, I am. I have chosen Amethyst just for that reason. Ooh, that was a mouthful to get out for some reason. I don't know why that was tough. But yes, I am. Let's see, let me get over into some of this blue, and I can start adding in some dark blues here too. The blues that I have on this palette, right, are Lunar Blue, which is this beautiful granulating, very granulating. If I pick it up, you can kind of see it there. You can see how it's dropped out in there. Very granulating Lunar Blue. And I'm not sure Moon Glow is blue. It's more purple, but it's very granulating also. Then I've got my favorite Phthalo Blue here right in the middle. Everybody's standard. Ultramarine Blue, and then Cerulean Blue on here. And I'll say, I don't know, I had purchased a couple of sets of M. Graham, Daniel Smith paints. And so I'm not sure which set had these colors in them. But I got them all, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make one set of all of my Daniel Smith things, and I kind of threw them all in here, and they all kind of work. The only real issue I have with this entire palette is that I don't have a real dark in here. I kind of put one in the corner, but I don't know. I miss the darks that I have in my M. Graham, the regular studio set. Susie says, since Michael is painting with Daniel Smith paints today, have you all been buying Daniel Smith paints? I've resisted Daniel Smith so far. There's so many choices. There are so many choices for Daniel Smith paints. Too many choices, I think sometimes. I don't know what they do, but holy cow, do they have a lot of colors. They're cool colors, without a doubt. But man, there are a lot of them. Woogie is here. Welcome, Woogie. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. Let's see. I don't have anything specific down here for where this blue crystal is. I'm gonna kind of wing it and just throw some color on here and have some belief that it's gonna turn out nicely. Let's see. What's everyone's favorite? Green Appetite, Genuine, and Undersea Green. I happen to have both of those right here. Whoop! You can see them. Here's Undersea Green, and here's Green Appetite, Genuine. Green Appetite has like a flecks of purple in it. It's very interesting. Actually, let's do this. Because I love doing this. Let's take 1, 2, 3. It's this one. Let's take a quick look at that. Goes on. This is the Green Appetite, a Genuine. Let's take a look. Ooh, lovely. Look at how nice that is. And the other one was, what's the other one? Undersea Green. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look at our undersea green. Will be next to it. I hope I'm doing this under the... like, I hope I'm doing this underneath the camera. There it is. Let's strengthen that just a little bit more. Ooh, lovely. I like that. Let's pull that out just a bit. That's a nice color green, I have to admit. I do like that. What am I doing? I messed up my wash. There we go. Fixed it. There we go. And I'm gonna, ooh, you can see, if my camera would play nicely. See, I'll use the back side. You can see this went on. It looked pretty smooth, but look, it's starting to get some little drops in there, some little purple. I don't know where the purple comes from. It doesn't look purple in any way, shape, or form until it starts to dry. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to come back to that and take a look at that as soon as it dries up a little bit. Let's see. Liza, you use green apatite a lot. What do you use it on? I'm curious. And when you're using green apatite, what would be something you would use it? Do you just use it in place of a normal green, or do you use it for other things? And my next question is, I'm going to have questions for you. Does it, or do you mix it with other colors? And if you mix it with other colors, well, I got a lot of questions. And if you mix it with other colors, how does it react? Right? Does it like mixing with other colors, or do you struggle with it? Inquiring minds want to know. Because I will be honest with you, I've not used it a whole lot. You use it for the greens in your florals. Interesting. I think this came as part of a floral pack at one point in time. But I don't use it for green in your florals. Just as your leaves, just in general? Or do you do something specific, or do you paint specific leaves with it? Is there a type of leaf that you would paint? As an example, right, I have Cobalt Green on my normal palette, my M-gram palette, because where I live, well, let's be honest, it doesn't get all that green all that often. We're having a bout of green right now, but oftentimes our green is a little subdued, and that Cobalt Green more matches the normal look of our flora and fauna out here. So I'm just curious. What is Foghorn? What is your most used color, if you know? I'm assuming you're asking me. What is my most used color? My most used color is probably... Well, that's a great question. Let's do another little experiment here. Not an experiment. Let's do some exploration. Slightly different. And I think you can all see, as I'm starting to add some color to this, I'm trying not to add it in big blocks of monocolor, right? This whole area changes color as it goes down. This area changes color as it comes across. This area changes color here. I'm hoping that those changes in color are going to work and it's going to look good. So here's our look into what colors I might use the most. And it looks to me, this is the palette that I typically use. I do refill them from time to time, but typically I fill them roughly the same. And you can see that burnt umber here gets used quite a bit. Sepia up here gets used quite a bit. Ultramarine blue gets used quite a bit, which makes sense because I mix my ultramarine with my burnt umber to make a lot of grays. And it looks like my Pyrrol Red gets used quite a bit. So I would say those are probably the ones that I use most. Good question. Whoops. Let's see. Wait a minute. Liza says, wow, yours looks different. Different. Mine are similar. Liza, you're talking about those two different colors. Oh, and then you said, oh yeah, now it looks like mine. And you said you haven't mixed it, but it would be a fun experiment. It would be a fun experiment. Except for the DS Primatech colors, does Daniel Smith use many different pigments? No, they don't. They use the same, for most of their lines, they use the same pigments as everybody else. They mix them in slightly different ratios, but they are basically the same. Okay, so cool. So we're almost dry here. We're as good as dry. It's still just barely cool to the touch, which means it's slightly damp. But you can see, look at how much purple has dropped out on this one. It's an interesting, it almost like gives it some self-texture on there, right? You can almost imagine that all of those little bits of purple that are there are just little chips in the paint, right? If that green were a concrete wall, those would be little chips in the concrete or something. That's the green apatite. And this one is undersea green, and it's got a bit of where this one is a green that's more of a yellowish green, maybe a bit warmer green. This one over here has got a bit more blue in it, the undersea green. And you can definitely see some blue tinting up here. And down here, you can, way at the bottom, you can just see some blue in there. Ooh, I love doing little experiments like that. It makes my day. It really does make my day. So who Liza, was that you that raised that? Thank you. Totally appreciate that. That's so good. And now everybody can decide. Having seen it, do you want to run out and buy that color paint? Which is what we all do. Oh, that's neat. I have an idea how I can use that. I better go get a tube of it. We all do it. We do. The hard part is limiting yourself. Or we all want to do it, I guess I should say. There we are. Okay. Oh, we're getting somewhere. Right? We'll get some cool kind of colors going on here. Some interesting gradations. I think if we continue with this one's pretty dark up here. Let me get some of this imperial purple. This imperial purple kind of drops out quite a bit too. A little bit of this imperial purple. Let's kind of keep that dark up here. A really strong mixture. And then I'm going to blend that into some of this other as it comes down. We're going to have a lovely looking crystal structure right here. Does it look anything like a piece of amethyst? I don't have any idea. It certainly doesn't look at this point, right, like the reference photo. But you know what? Mine looks more alive. It looks like it's got so much more going on. Did we talk about at one point in time the watercoloriness feel of different things, right? We talked about that and how watercolors just have this cool feel about them that not a lot of other medias have. And to be able to put all of these different colors on here. The main color is purple, so we could say, yeah, it totally looks like amethyst. The main color is purple right there. But, you know, we don't all have all that much purple in here. We have a little bit. We've got a lot of magenta. Got a lot of whatever these reds are. I'm sorry, I'm just off of there. Am I Foghorn? Am I going to do aquamarine for March? No, nope, no more crystals. Crystals are done. They had their opportunity. Too hard. We're moving on to different things. Foghorn, if you want to get into it, the Discord server is up there. You can go to it, and the challenge for March is going to be flamingos or flamingo. You can paint multiples if you want, but I think it'll be fun to paint at least an flamingo. In actuality, we get to use a lot of these same colors all over again. Okay, Natalie, Liza, you guys know I've not used the Turner paints. Talk to me about the Turner paints. Because I know other people that have used Turner paints and they love them. What makes the Turner paints so good? And a follow-up question, is that like the house brand for Jerry's Artorama? Is Turner, they're affordable. Okay, I get that. I totally understand that. Watercolors are not necessarily cheap. Totally get that. Are they what's the question I'm trying to ask? Do they blend well? Can you glaze one color over another easily with them? They are affordable. They blew the Cotman out of the water in pigment load. Are they comparably priced to the Cotman sets or Cotman tubes or pans, however you want to buy them? I've painted with quite a few of the Cotman paints. I actually kind of like the Cotman paints. I don't think they're fantastic, but I like them, if that makes any sense. Yes, Liza says yes. I'm not sure what the question was at this point. Yes, something. Things. Yes, things, definitely. My bad. I'm trying to remember what the question I asked. The small tube set of 18 colors often goes on sale for $20. Wow. They're made in Japan. Oh, yeah. Are they like Holbein? Oh, I do like Holbein paints. In fact, I was just talking about my Holbein paints the other day. I think I like my Holbein paints more than I like my Mission Gold paints, which I think kind of says a lot. But they try to do different things, those two. I try really hard to keep my paints to one pigment. When you have two or more pigments, it makes mud. Anna is here. Hello. That's my problem with the Holbein paint. That's my only problem with the Holbein paints, is most of their paints are multi-pigment paints. And if you're not careful, you do end up with something that's a little muddier than other paints. I mean, we can overcome that, right? There are things that we can do that will help prevent the muddying. Maybe I should do a video on that. But I do like the Holbein paints. I think they're pigmented nicely. They're very smooth, almost a little too smooth. Very nice paints, and you can layer and layer and layer to your heart's content. It will never be an issue. Mission Gold doesn't granulate at all. Very smooth and bright. Well, I'm okay with them not granulating. My problem with the Mission Gold paints, and this is going to sound really weird, they're too bright. They're hard to rein in. They're so bright. You go to paint with them and you put some paint on paper and you're like, holy cow, that's just, it's sometimes almost iridescent, and then you end up trying to figure out how to tone them down a little bit. Core is a different beast. Let's not talk about Core. They're kind of in a category of their own. Not only price category of their own usually, but they try to push the limit on lots of things, and so they're the most, well, I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound a little weird. They're the most out there paint company. And I say that knowing that Daniel Smith, as far as colors go, Daniel Smith is by far the most out there company. But as far as paint and pushing the limit on paints, right? Trying to figure out formulations and different ways to put the paints together and whatnot. I think Core is kind of in a class of their own. Plus, some of their stuff is a little odd. But again, I think it's all on purpose. I just got some Core granulating colors. And Natalie, have you tried them? How are they? We need to know. We want to know. Let's see. I'm going to put kind of a little crystal right here. I'm still building this up a little bit. Here. Do I need to go back over the paints that I'm kind of dipping into here again? Does anybody want to go over that again? I'm kind of just dipping in, and I forget that, or I should say I forgot that I don't often talk about these ones because I don't use them all that often. So let me do that. That's probably be a good thing to do. Especially, I think we've got a couple of new people in here. We can talk about it. Liza, you met an artist who raved about the Core colors. Everybody I know that has used the Core colors raves about the Core colors. Let's see, Natalie. The CEO of Golden is a really neat guy. He invites students and artists to the studio. Yeah, they're a pretty cool company. Okay, so I'm going to move this up. You're not going to see the top of my crystals up here, but you'll be able to see all the colors that I'm using. Actually, let me do it this way. This would be, since my colors are here, right? The colors that I'm using in here, all throughout here, make sure that's not touching. Imperial purple, right? A nice, it's somewhat granulating purple, but it's got purple and kind of pink together in there. One of those Daniel Smith duochrome colors. Opera pink here, somewhere in here, there's got to be some opera pink. Quiacridone Rose, right? And all the quinacridones, when you see those are man-made pigments. They're not natural pigments. Doesn't mean anything about the colors. I mean, typically means they're a little bit more staining than the earth colors. But just quinacridone is another word for man-made pigment. Quinacridone Rose, quinacridone magenta. Right, you should be able to see quite a bit of the quinacridone magenta through here. Pyrrol Scarlet, which is very close. It's more orangey than my organic vermilion, which is here. Okay. The vermilion's a little bit more red. Pyrrol Scarlet, a little bit more orangey on my test sheet here. And then I'm not even sure I've used the quinacridone burnt scarlet. I don't know that I have. And then whoop, down here at the base of everything, I think I've thrown all of these colors in there a little bit. I've got Lunar Blue, which is a very granulating blue. It's like a Cobalt Blue or a Cerulean Blue, and with flecks in it that are kind of neutral tint or Paynes Gray, maybe somewhere in that range. Moon Glow, which is more of a neutral tint with a little bit more red in it, a little bit granulating. French Ultramarine, Cerulean Blue in here. I'm trying to stay out of my Phthalo Blue. I love Phthalo Blue, but it's such a strong color. I don't want my blue to overtake my pink and my purple up on top. So those are the colors that I'm using here. And when you see me going into the reds up here, I'm just going into those. I guess I can put this where I can see it and I can call them out. Maybe that will be a little bit easier for everybody. Here's Pyrrol Scarlet going in, a little bit of Imperial Purple, and then I'm going to go in and do some painting. Let's see. Natalie, you haven't done any painting with your core granular paints yet. You most recently bought a couple of sets of Rosa Gallery pans. Your way of supporting the Ukraine. I support that. I'm sure they are appreciative of it. Let's see. I'm gonna take a little bit of color here. And Anna Petty Artist, Susie Moon totally recommended, because you get 6 pans out of 1 stick. The colors are perfect. You can do a very large painting with them. So, Anna, if you love talking about watercolors, I think you've come to the right spot. In fact, message me afterwards. I'll talk watercolors for half of forever. I had a meeting at work, and everybody knows that I paint watercolors. Anybody who's ever been to my office has seen. I've got 45,000 watercolors up on my wall, or so, I don't know, some amount. I got a lot of watercolors up on my wall, and why not, right? I've got a lot of wall space. I'm gonna fill it up with some watercolors. Anyways, we had to fill out this personality questionnaire to talk about things we liked and things we didn't like, and I'm sure the whole thing was supposed to be all work related. Well, one of the questions was, if somebody really wants to get me talking, what would they talk to me about? I put paint, pigment, brushes, and paper. Done. I'll talk for the rest of the day. You just let me know when you want me to be quiet. And everybody just kind of looked at me like, I thought we were at work talking work stuff. I'm like, oh, well, you wanted me to talk work stuff. You shouldn't have put in too much personal stuff in there, because I'll just yabber on about it for a long time. For anybody who doesn't know, I took a watercolor class at the community college a year or so ago. It was a while ago. And my thought was, well, it's always nice to get in touch with some new artists and see what they're doing. And there's always something you can do to refine your skills and whatnot. I'm not worried about getting there and being the star of the class or anything like that. Whatever. I just thought it was going to be a fun class to take. Now I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, I know. And the first day of class, the instructor gave us all a list of paints to get, and one of them was Viridian Green. I was okay, cool. I don't like Viridian, and I'm not apologetic about it. So I was like, why would you want everybody to get Viridian? And more than that, I have 5 different, 5, 6 different Viridians, and they're all different. Which Viridian green do you want me to use? And the poor instructor was not, she was not expecting anything like that. And she's like going, can you just put one of them? Can you just put one of them in your palette for the class? We just have a requirement. And I'm like, yes, but I want to know, what is the requirement? Why? Why? Oh, I missed. Liza asks, how do I like the duochrome paints? I don't. In theory, I think the duochrome paints are fantastic. And I think they have a wonderful place for a lot of people. Viridian and yellow make a wild lime green. Yes, Viridian will make, and yellow might make a great lime green. But I can do it with Phthalo Blue, oh my God. Phthalo Green also can make probably that same thing. And my Phthalo Green doesn't harden to the hardness of titanium. And it's easy to re-wet. Part of my real problem with Viridian is it doesn't you can dunk it in water, you can leave it in the bottom of the ocean for a year and a half, and it doesn't like to re-wet. Do I like duochrome paints? I don't have any issue with the duochrome paints. Not one. So when I say I don't care for them, it doesn't mean that I dislike them, because I don't. I just haven't found the need for them. If I were to paint, this might be a better way to answer this. If I were to paint with a single paint to do something, right? If I were to use 1 or 2 colors of, I don't know, magenta or amethyst to paint this image with, I think the duochrome paints would be fantastic. But it's not really how I paint. 10 years ago when I did a lot less, I should say, when I did a lot less mixing of my paints, probably the duochrome paints would have been wonderful and I'd have been all over them. But I found them a little later in my painting journey. And the longer I go, the less I see the need for them. So that's why I say I'm not wild about them. I think they're cool. The duochrome paints are extremely cool. And you can get some really neat effects from them, but I think we can get some really cool kind of effects from some other stuff too. And we don't need to have all of that stuff mixed in one paint. So that's my reasoning. They are admittedly extremely cool. Let's see, years ago I had a dear old friend who was a watercolor artist during World War II. I will always regret that I never took painting classes from him. Yeah. I was just thinking that yesterday when I was choosing a green. No, Viridian. I don't know Viridians. I can't do Viridian. I cannot. I think we had this discussion, Liza. I think you asked me at one point in time, and I was on an anti-Viridian rant for a long time. Have you ever painted with a limited palette? I do. So I don't have all of my palettes. I have several of my palettes over yonder, and I've got one. I think I've got 6 paints in it. A warm and cold of each of the oh my god, the basic colors, the primary colors, and that's it. Nothing else. And I use that quite a bit. Could I do with less than that? I probably. But I don't know that I would necessarily go out and paint with less than that, less than 6, because it's so easy to do that 6. You get the little tiny travel palette. Oh, hang on. I don't know what's in this one. It looks as though, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this is 12, and it's a little sticky on the back for some reason. I want to say these are Holbein paints. Yes, this is Holbein paint. But I'm not showing you to show the paints. I'm showing you. I have a couple of these. This just was the one on the top of the stack that I grabbed. They've got the little clip on it. Super easy to grab and go. And so whatever you can fit in one of these, I wouldn't necessarily take less than this to go do any painting, just because this is so convenient and it's so small, and you can do so much with it the way it is. Split primaries. Oh, I love split primaries. Let's see. Mina is here. Hello, Mina. New sub. Thank you. Thank you. Means a lot. Can always use the help with the subs. I'm going to start putting on some color in some other areas here. We'll hope to move this along a little bit. I want to get a couple of these areas dry so I can put in some secondary colors on here. But in general, I think it's got kind of a cool look to it, right? That's kind of a neat look. Really light. I got a couple of things maybe inside here flashing through. Let's put some color over here. Really light. Some cool things. Pink Mo 6, hello. I have summoned the Steven Universe fandom. Okay, all right, well, I've got that on my side for sure. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but welcome. If you're into watercolor painting, have any interest in it at all, I think you found the right place. I think we all like talking paint, paper, color, all of that kind of stuff. Brushes, love talking brushes. Brushes are good. Let's see. So maybe some internal structures through here. Trying to make these very light in here. Maybe those are a little too dark. I can take care of that. Uh-oh, Liza, Michael, love this. As always, have to cut out early. All right, Liza, thank you for joining. As always, wonderful to have you join. Look forward to you stopping by next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you again real soon, hopefully. Hopefully. Let's see. Natalie says you've been trying to go raw sienna instead of yellow ochre lately. Ooh. Because of the desert landscapes. I get it. I totally get it. The desert's a funny one, Natalie. Do you think because at one blush you look at it and it's super simple? There's not a lot there on first blush lots of times. And the more you sit and the more you look, the more you see. It's not like looking at a pine tree where you're going to look at the pine tree and you may not see much more than, the boughs and a pine cone or some such like that. The desert, when you look at it, every time you look at it, there's new stuff. You look and you go, okay, I've got some brush and some shrub here. I've got this old dried up tree here. You turn, you look back, and you go, wait a minute, wait, there's something else hiding out in the sand, in the dirt. Every time I go to a place that's all desert-y, right? I live in a really dry area, but I don't think I'm quite desert-ish. Not nearly as much as you, but every time I go to a place like that and I turn and I look, I'm like, oh wait, how did I miss that detail? Oh, and then how do I get it? How do I put that in? Or do I need to put that into my painting? Would it be better if it wasn't in? I don't know. But you can confirm, yeah, you are definitely confirming that there's a lot of that goes on. Because sometimes I think those of us who live in, I don't want to say, I was going to say different climate, but climate, I mean, that's right, but it's not quite right. but just different areas, and we see things differently and take things for granted, and we think other places just aren't like ours, but the desert is very, yeah, it's a living desert. Yeah, deserts are crazy. I promise you all. Okay, let's see. I want to get a few dark areas in here. Give me a little bit of this blue. This is Ultramarine Blue I'm going to mix in here. I'm going to hope to get a few nice dark areas going. Not too much on my brush. This area. And yes, I'm going to turn my page. Darker, little different color in there. I think I'm going to need to go to a slightly smaller brush as we're getting down to some of this nitty gritty, as we're closing in on the end here. Let's see, this can be a really dark area down here. Different color purple, maybe just a different color purple. I have noticed with these Daniel Smith paints, they don't wet quite as easily as the M. Graham paints do. They do have some nice color, but they don't wet quite as quickly as the M. Grahams. The M. Grahams must have more honey in them. Has anybody else noticed that with their Daniel Smith paints? They wet nicely, but maybe not quite as quickly as other paints. Just a question. Let's get some dark in here. As much as I go on about having darks in your painting, I can't not have some darks in my painting. If the more darks I can put in here, the more the lights are going to show up. Maybe there's a little reflection there. Something. Let's even make this a little bluer here. Let's bring that up. Everybody's going quiet. I look up and if there's nothing there, sometimes I'm like, oh no. Did I lose connectivity again? What happened? I know you're all still there. You're enraptured by my speech as we're going through this. I understand. I get it. You know what I want to put a line here. Let's try to divide this up just a little bit. I think I need a little more color back here too. This needs to be divided from what's in front of it. Come on, purple. Work with me. Let's go with that. We've got some nice bright areas here. We've got some nice dark areas. I think I need to do something over here. Let's see. When I did my Amethyst, it really came to life when I finally put the deep darks. Right. That happens with so many paintings. We all, and Natalie, thanks for bringing that up. It's tough because we all look at our paintings. And when I say we all, I'm talking about myself. Right? We look at our painting and we go, that looks nice. It looks nice. I like it. And then we go, ooh, if I do something else to it, it might ruin it. It might not look quite as nice. And then we don't push that limit maybe quite as far as we could or as we should. And sometimes we hold ourselves back. And when you're brave enough a lot of times to then go in and put in those darks or to put in that extra detail, wow, what you end up with is something that really pops off the pages. You're going, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that before? And it's only kind of come to fruition if we do it over and over and over again and try to push our bounds a little bit. Dana, Natalie, I agree with you. The Arizona desert is a living desert. Yes. It's great when everything is in bloom. Ooh, you guys should. Let's see. This is February, March. This is basically March, right? You got how long until things start to bloom? 2 weeks? Has it started to bloom for you guys yet? When does your springtime really get to you there and things start moving on? Let's see. I'm going to drop in a few lines here and there. I don't want to really outline everything, but I do want to just make a couple of marks here and there. I like that on this there are a multitude. Poppies soon. Lupines are blooming now. Wow. I wish. I'm jealous. We haven't quite gotten, well, we've had so much rain here, but we haven't quite gotten to spring yet. I'm so looking forward to spring when we get some flower. We do have some daffodils. I should say that. We do have a few daffodils, which are quite lovely. Daffodils hold a special place in my heart. I'll share. When I was growing up, we're getting daffodils, camellias, and some purple flowers. Nice. Poppies are beautiful when they're in bloom. My mother, I don't know how old I was, 12, not very old. My mother would send me down the street. I wasn't always allowed to ride my bike all that far. But down the street was an old farmhouse foundation, right? The house is long gone. The foundation was still there. And, of course, since the foundation was still there, everything that had been planted around that house was still there. So I used to drive down. I used to get on my bicycle, my BMX bike, and ride down and pick daffodils and ride them back home and give them to my mom. And that was one of the things I really like to do. And she would ask me to do it from time to time, but I really like to go down and get those daffodils from that old lot for my mom. So daffodils for me always will have a special place in my heart. I love daffodils. Please don't ask me. Just please don't ask me to paint daffodils. Yellows are difficult. Anybody who paints a lot of yellows, I give you a lot of credit because yellows are difficult. Uh-oh. Wait. Right now in Prescott, there's a fall spring. I expect a few more snow days before we're really going to... what is your... right bicycle repairman, is your handle Monty Python related? Oh, okay, I got it now. Is your name Monty Python related? It is, and it's from the Ministry of Strange Walks. No, that's not it. That's not really it. I got a few more. Few more colors to go. Give me that blue. Come on, give me some blue in here. The mountains are gorgeous in springtime. Wait a minute. Hold on. You guys are in Phoenix. You guys are in Arizona. Okay. Don't think I'm crazy about this, right? This is going to sound so weird. I have a fascination with pseudoscience radio shows, right? Overnight radio shows and whatnot. I listen to a lot of them. I love listening to them. I love the conspiracy theories. I think things are, some of them are so crazy. But I can't stop myself. I will admit it right now. You're in Wisconsin. So I have a question. Was anybody in and around the Phoenix area and saw the Phoenix lights? I believe it was 1997. Yes, Art Bell. I love Art Bell. I listen to all of the old Art Bell shows on old podcasts or new podcasts about his old shows. I love all that stuff. It's it's fascinating. It's interesting. I love to, the theories are not true, but it's fun to listen to them, and it's fun to try to pick them apart and see where reality meets unreality and whatnot. That's what I said. Don't judge me too harshly. They're fun. But was anybody in and around there and they have seen the Phoenix lights or the Arizona lights? Bicycle Repairman, you should have a plein air Arizona day. You should. Yeah, absolutely you should. I want to have a meetup day here where I'm at. I'm trying to figure out how I would facilitate that. Because I think I'm the only one who lives near me. Let's see. Marty, I'm in Arizona up north under the town of Jerome, about 18 miles from Sedona. You're here in Arizona. I just saw the lights info on the news. Really? Are those Christmas lights? No. No, they weren't Christmas lights. They were if you believe Art Bell, they were a craft that floated silently over Phoenix and areas north from Phoenix for about an hour and a half, and it were seen by 100,000 people or so. Lots of picture. Well, a few pictures, some videos, lots of anecdotal information. But it's fun to think about that it could be true. That we were visited by some craft that was floating over Phoenix. The Army said they were flares that they had deployed that floated over the city. I don't have any idea what they were, but it's a fantastic story. Am I talking about UAPs? Yes, UAPs. Natalie, you moved there in 2005, well after the Phoenix lights. Yeah, the Phoenix lights. We're in. If I'm not mistaken, the Phoenix lights were March 17th, middle of March of 97, something like that. Anyway, it's a fun topic. Okay, I don't know how much extra I need to do. I'll tell you what I do need to do. I'm looking at this. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I'm kind of okay with this. This little bit in the center here doesn't stick out quite enough for me. So I'm going to make it stick out a little bit more. I want to be sure that when people look at this, they can see there are a couple of different layers here. So if I darken this up, should help pull it forward a little bit, or at least separate it from the colors in the background like that. I think it does. It might mean I have to slightly darken the one that's in front of it. All just a matter of adjustment here and there. There we go. I pulled them both forward just a bit. I'm just looking to see what I need to adjust here and adjust there so I can make it look like we've got a little bit more depth. I put a couple of extra layers on that maybe I wasn't thinking I would. There you go. Now this one really might be too dark actually. But now this little bit here really stands out in front, right? I just pulled this grouping here right in front of these two. Pulled it right towards us. I don't want it to look like there's just a line right there. I'm going to brush some of that away. Boy, it's funny. I look up here on the monitor, and it looks like there's a line and a line, and I look down here, and it looks like it's just all homogeneous. It's funny how that happens. A couple of lines here and there, some stuff going on inside these crystals, right? I think that it's looking pretty good. Should I put a background on this? Something behind it? If I do, it's got to be yellow, right? Or a yellow base. I don't know, what is my yellow? Hansa Light. Gamboge. See, I'm gonna put my background on the way that I like to put a background on. It's quick, it's easy, it's pretty effective. So a little water here. Pull that out. So this should, in theory, right? This should help this to pop off the page a little bit more. Bazow. And let's try the same thing on this side. Ooh, all right. Up here. Good, 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 good. get some of that color in here. It's like it's got a light behind it. It's being lit up from behind. Ba-ba! Oh, there you go. That's quite nice. Let's give just a little bit in the middle here. I think we can give just a little bit right in the middle. Probably make it look nice. Probably a little bit more cohesive. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like it. It's a simple way to make an effective background. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything. But the right color makes everything pop. It really does. That yellow back there makes this pop off a little bit more. It's amazing how that happens. It really is. Okay. Did you just say pizzow? I did. All right, Anna says, fun channel. Thanks for streaming. You're totally welcome. I'm going to sign this. I hope you come back another time. We try to have fun every night or every Wednesday. Trying to make it enjoyable, a nice positive place. You can make fun of my painting. I do it enough. If you want to join Discord and put your paintings up there, we'll talk about those if you're willing. Usually a really positive environment over there. Let's see. At Marty, I ordered my art supplies online too. Marty, where's Marty? Marty, I go to Prescott for supplies and Costco. You mostly order supplies online. Oh, I got you. How about shadows under the stone? Oh, who said that? oh, shadow under the stone. Let's see, light is kind of coming in this way, which means I have to have a shadow going that way. Oh, okay, shadow under the stone. Why? Right, let's see, a little shadow here. Oh, I don't know what shadow color I have over here. Let's do our shadow in, what is this, moonstone? Lunar glow. A little bit of lunar glow. A little bit of our purple out here. The problem is I don't have a good dark to put on. Ooh, that's a green. That's never going to work. I don't have a good dark that I like to put out here. To make for a good shadow color. That's not bad. Oh, I got a little something there. Ta-da! Shadow underneath. Yes! Wait. You're gonna be on the next plane to Phoenix because you need the sun. You're gonna get the sun in a couple of months. Let's see. You're a good guest. You clean up after yourself and you don't eat much. Okay. So a little self reflection here. I think as I'm looking at this, for my mind, my colors got a little away from me in a couple of places. I would like to have had here a little darker and a little lighter. I love how this one comes down dark and gets lighter down here. Then I could put a dark on the edge of this and it pushes it forward. Or I can go really dark like I did here. But in a couple of these areas, I was trying to make a difference between the two sides here, and I think I lost track of what was here. This one also, maybe should have been a different color on this side, and maybe not so dark on this side. I think it just could have given a little bit more definition and depth to where we're at with things. You know, I'm looking at my reference photo up here, and I know it's very hard for you guys to see because it's so small, but it's got these little reflections inside. A couple of them I think really look cool. A couple of them here, they're really light. I kind of like some of them. A couple of them got a little dark. These ones just started out too dark. Don't necessarily hate it, but I don't know that I get anything from that. All in all, it's okay. It's purpley. It's magenta-y. I guess it's amethyst-y. maybe I didn't hit the mark on the color amethyst quite so much, but I got the hit the mark on the crystal aspect of it. Let's see. You guys are talking food and cats, all kinds of stuff. Let's see. It's just what I want. It looks great to you, Marty. Thank you, Anna. We get the weird light in the sky sometimes. Your cat can't be worse than the cranky. Okay. Oh, you guys are talking about Costco hot dogs. Marty, you're saying we can all be critical, but it looks great. Look. I'm a proponent of not being too critical of our own artwork, but I think in this arena, if I can be a little critical of myself and let you all in on what I'm thinking, I'm okay with being critical with myself. But if I can do that and let you guys in on my thinking, then I think you guys can take that and run with it and recognize that in your own paintings. Right, so I always try to do a little bit of self-reflection where I could do better, where I think I did a good job. I used to do it with a friend of mine. We used to do plein air painting on campus where I work, and we would sit down and do a little self-reflection. We called it Soaring Heights and Abject Disasters. I think self-reflection is just a little bit nicer. But we had fun with it, and with doing that little bit of reflection, I think you can learn quite a bit. So that's what I've got for everybody for this month's challenge. Amethyst, a little tougher than I thought it was going to be. It really was. But good nonetheless, fun nonetheless. I love the different colors in here. I do get the amethyst vibe. Maybe I could have used a little bit more purple, but I do get that amethyst vibe, but I think I still have some of that watercolory coolness on it. So I'm going to call it a success. I want to thank everybody for helping to make my Wednesday evening enjoyable once again. I really do look forward to this Wednesday live stream and hope we get to continue this for a long, long time. Dana, you said every time you watch me, you learn something from me. Thank you. I hope I can continue to stay at that level, and you can continue to learn from me. If everybody can take a little bit away and be a little better watercolor painter, that'll make their painting a little bit more fun, then maybe we'll all enjoy it a little bit more and spread the watercolor love. That's all I've got for you guys this evening. I'll post next Monday probably what we'll be painting next week. Be on the lookout for that. Until then, everybody have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.